Between Europe and Asia, economic dialogue, humanitarian missions, multi-vector operating and the search for compromises in the world arena. How else does Kazakhstan participate in the development of the modern world? More details, watch the program Kazakhstan International Vectors. Today you will find out when did the world's first computer virus appear, what is the cyber shield of Kazakhstan, and why should every inhabitant of the planet be concerned with cyber security today.
The 2nd of November 1988, in the US, the work of 6,000 personnel computers had been paralyzed because of the professor of the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Robert Morris, who had created and launched the first network worm ever. This attack led to a massive infection of the entire ARPANET network, the predecessor of the Internet. The Morris worm was the first large-scale and widespread DOS attack, and the professor himself was the first cyber criminal accused of computer fraud. He was convicted of probation and 400 hours of public works and paid a fine of $10,000. It is believed that this case had led the foundation of the development of cybersecurity. It is becoming increasingly important due to the growing influence of computer systems and the Internet on all spheres of human life, the development of wireless networks, for example, on the basis of Bluetooth and Wi-Fi, and the growing number of smart devices.
Ensuring the uninterrupted operation of the client's office, this has been the mission of Alexey Belimov's company for 12 years already. IT Support Group today consists of more than 50 employees, of which 35 are IT engineers. It is they who are engaged in technical maintenance of the client companies and are responsible for the uninterrupted operation of all technical equipment. The very first office was in my own car. Thus I can say that the company has started with a single employee, me. Then a few friends of mine joined and helped me. The main principle works here. It is easier to prevent a problem rather than to solve it. But for this, you need to constantly expand your professional horizons, says Alexey. It is necessary for a person to read a certain amount of literature in order to be sufficiently developed and educated, because our employees help to move forward not only our business, but help to move the business of customers. This is very critical because we are not just setting up some computers. We implement such IT solutions that help business to develop. Hello, IT support. It is Ruslan. This is the Department of Remote Customer Support. It is here where the initial calls are made, and it is here where 90% of all technical problems of customers are being solved. The company also has visiting specialists in case of the employees of the call center did not manage to help the client. Everyone knows how the neighboring department works. Every person who comes to us should work for at least 1 week in every department to understand the entire business, the whole process of our work. Also, in order to create benefit not only to our company but also to the whole Almaty and maybe the whole Kazakhstan, we usually give work to young specialists who even have no working experience. They come here and during a month or two they sort of study here in order to learn the basic IT milestones. Alexey believes that the most important thing for a leader of any company is the ability to infect employees with his ideas. This is the key to success in creating a cohesive creative team in any enterprise. After all, any business in any country is formed only at the expense of the team. Of course, we learn something ourselves, but without employees, without every employee who works here, IT support company would not have ever been. Without my family, which including my mother, father and brother also work here, there would be nothing. Without the support of my family, like support of my wife, my relatives, this company would not have happened. Therefore, I consider everything concomitantly. We not only have a company, but the society of people who helps to create it. And I'm absolutely sure if we take any business, not necessarily in Kazakhstan, any business in the world, it is formed precisely at the expense of the team. Well, let's see what you have done. What do we have here? According to Alexey, one of the main advantages of his work is the possibility of self-development, which is acquired by each of his employees. Cybersecurity is the process of using security measures to ensure the confidentiality, integrity, and availability of data in the network. Such protection is usually provided by the system administrator, who also cares about the health of computers and data servers of a separate company. The purpose of ensuring cybersecurity is to protect data, both in the process of its transfer or exchange and when it is stored. In modern conditions of general computerization, state structures and individual financial institutions fall at the risk of being attacked by hackers. If we talk about Kazakhstan, in our opinion, one of the key types of threats is targeted attacks on companies, large businesses, and representatives of small and medium-sized businesses. And one of such prominent representatives of such targeted attacks is viruses encoders. No doubts you've heard about such programs as when you turn on the computer and cannot do anything else because the attackers block to you the access to everything and demand a ransom. Encryption programs belong to the class of Trojans extortionists. This is malicious software that introduces unauthorized changes to user data or blocks the normal operation of the computer. In order to decrypt data and unlock a computer, hackers usually require a money transfer, a ransom.
In 2016, computer viruses encoders have attacked almost 1.5 million unique users. According to the Dell Secure Works report, every 100 days, extortion programs make their creators get richer by $30 million. The number of new modifications of such computer viruses has grown 11 times. The number of attacks on companies has increased threefold. If earlier they happened on average every 2 minutes, now they are being conducted every 40 seconds. The intensity of attacks on individual users has doubled, from one case for every 20 seconds to one attack every 10 seconds.
In general, encryption programs are distributed through email attachments. The task of the attacker is to persuade the user to open the attachment, so very often the topics of the letters are either daily, for example, an invitation to an event, or threatening, notification of a claim, collection of debts, and the like. It's not a secret that indeed the number of attacks on Kazakhstan in recent months and years has increased. This is felt by banks, this is felt by the authorities, and in general many mass media report about this. There has always been the interest of malefactors. Simply it has become more evident with the growth of innovations inside the country, with the growth of technology, with the release of everything in the electronic segment, starting from the state services, ending with corporate applications or just applications for private use. The more we use electronic technologies, including transactions, using of credit cards for different payments and so on, the more we get the interest of intruders. Specialists in the protection of computers against viruses suggest using modern tools to combat malware. For example, install licensed software with encryption protection. Also, to prevent the data loss, you must regularly perform the file backup. As for the state, it also stands guard over the interests of internet users. It is clear that those countries that are currently at the head of the economy, at the head of world politics, they are the owners of their own developments and their own decisions in the field of cybersecurity. It should be clearly understood that the key word in the construction of cybersecurity of Kazakhstan is the word "own." We must have our own specialists, and we ourselves must pay very good money to all those employees who work in the field of cybersecurity. In Kazakhstan, the concept of cybersecurity has been developed under the name of Cyber Shield. Its main goal is to ensure the information security of society and the state in the field of information and communications, as well as protecting the privacy of citizens when using information and communication technologies. And the prerequisites for such protection are definitely there. Only in 2016, 1 billion internet attacks on state bodies of the Republic was recorded and successfully reflected.
Within the framework of the Cyber Shield of Kazakhstan concept, it is envisaged to create a coordinating operational center for information security. In addition, the need for training and educational practices for the protection of personal data among underage Internet users and their parents is also being discussed. In general, in 2017, the government of Kazakhstan planned to allocate almost 7.5 billion tenge from the budget to combat cybercrime.
It's not a secret that this year and in the past year also, thanks to the concept of the Cyber Shield, which was introduced in the President's message, much is being done to, say, increase the state security and to strengthen the defense at all levels. Of course, I will note this fact once again, that the education and the improvement of the quality of knowledge in the field of cybersecurity are such fundamental things that should be guarded by the state. In addition, the Ministry of Defense and Aerospace Industry was established in Kazakhstan, which among other functions performs the leadership in the areas of electronic industry, information security, information and communication.
They
are responsible precisely for the oversight function, the regulatory function, and as an authorized body, they monitor and are responsible for everything that is happening in our country. But we need to keep in mind that we have law enforcement agencies in the state, there are state bodies, this is a public type of ministries and departments, and there is a private sector. So the authorized body in the sphere of information security is the Ministry of Defense and Aerospace Industry. Cybersecurity is a necessary condition for the development of the information society, experts say. In the 1990s, the Consortium for Research in Information Security was established in the United States, which developed a proposal to create an international convention against cybercrime and terrorism. In September 1997, a document was published, which was a guide to developing a policy in the field of computer security within the Internet community. In 2014, the European Telecommunication Standardization Institute established the Cybersecurity Technical Committee responsible for the standardization of cybersecurity at the international level. In 2013, for example, the OSCE adopted special confidence-building measures between member countries. In the UN, for example, right now an initiative is being considered from a group of states, including Kazakhstan, by the way, to ensure that cybersecurity, more precisely violations in the field of cyberspace, is equated in fact to nuclear weapons. That is, offensive actions in cyberspace should be abandoned. In general, today, everything that concerns the Internet, with a certain degree of certainty, it is possible to clearly define who was the initiator, the criminal or the intruder in this or that attack. Therefore, the legislation of almost all countries today is summed up so that the legal field allows finding and punishing cybercriminals. Since 2008, NATO has been holding annual cyber lessons with the elaboration of the interaction of the international alliance forces in the field of information security. So in April 2013, the exercises called Locked Shields 2013 worked out measures to repel cyber attacks of computer networks. The organizers of the exercises were the Center for Studying NATO's Best Practices in the field of cybersecurity in cooperation with the Estonian and Finnish defense ministries. About 250 specialists from 9 countries took part in the event.
The European Network and Information Security Agency in October of 2012 conducted special trainings called European Cyber Exercise to determine the willingness of public and private sector organizations to repel cyber attacks. More than 300 computer security experts from banks, internet service providers and government agencies from 25 countries took part in that training.
Violation of the information structure, for example, in financial institutions or in banks, will create a complete chaos. Even the infringement of the information system of companies, which collect money from us for the utility payments, will also create a chaos. Moreover, cybercriminals can disrupt the activities of power plants. That is, the electricity will disappear everywhere, and so on and so forth.
и так далее, и так далее.
In May this year, the WannaCry virus extortion has infected tens of thousands of computers in 74 countries, starting with Spain and Portugal, where it paralyzed the work of a major telecommunications operator, Telefónica. A computer worm went through a gas company, an electricity network operator and a bank. Then it switched to internal networks of British hospitals. Afterwards, its activities were recorded in Singapore, Taiwan and China, and further, the virus spread around the world, reaching even Australia and Latin America. Experts call the cyber attack a real epidemic. Why do epidemics occur? The story is very simple. There is a notion of social engineering when intruders, using your gullibility, lack of knowledge, something else, penetrate the company's infrastructure. In order for it does not happen, each of us, in theory, should learn everything about cyber threats, should be aware of the consequences of their actions, and in general be responsible for the use of any devices, be they their own, corporate, public, and be able to prevent what is happening. Because most of the attacks, most of the epidemics begin with the most simple actions, from a phishing email, from a malicious link, from an incomprehensible message from an unknown recipient. It becomes clear that cybersecurity is a strategic problem of state importance, which affects all members of the society. Thus, the US, China, Britain, France, Germany, Israel, and a number of other states already have their own official cyber forces.
То есть вот в этом смысле нам нужно...
In this sense, we need a national program which will train the teachers themselves, which will train our children in schools, which will educate their parents, and which will teach us how to properly work in the internet.
с вами, как нужно правильно работать в интернете.
Meanwhile, in a number of advanced countries, such school programs already exist. For example, in the UK, students are offered to attend cybersecurity lessons in which they will be trained in skills to ensure the security of British companies and organizations from network attacks by hackers. The curriculum is developed by the Ministry of Culture, Media and Sports of Great Britain. The lessons are planned to be held both in the online mode and in the form of extracurricular activities. Teacher experts, together with the students, will consider real cybersecurity cases and the practice of their solution. The program is designed for students aged from 14 to 18 years. The first pilot classes are planned to be held in September 2017. Like any entrepreneur, Alexey Belimov plans to expand his business. This includes the expansion of staff and the client base and perhaps the access to new markets. The main thing is not to be afraid of anything new and not stop increasing your own qualification.
В наши планы, безусловно, входит развитие.
Of course, our plans include development. To date, we have started a separate line on IT solutions. As I said, we have been joined by a company that deals with 1C accounting solutions, and we are committed to providing IT solutions for medium-sized businesses. These solutions help make the business more efficient. That is, we help to build business processes and then support these processes in IT. We are moving in this direction. We believe that we can do much more for our businessmen, the focus of which should be directed to the business and not to some daily problems.
Той текучки, которая приходит.
Securing your own data in cyberspace is a matter for every user. First of all, it is important to understand your own responsibility for digital assets. In other words, you need to be attentive to your computer and the information stored on it by setting a password. Also, experts advise to be suspicious of strange links, even if they come from familiar users. If a friend or a stranger has sent you something suspicious, try to call him, try to clarify this information. If you have received a link, again, write a letter to the sender asking whether he really was the author of such a link. That is, a full verification and such a good suspicion should always be. The second very important rule is the use of legitimate antivirus software. Protection of various devices connected to the communication network, starting with computers, servers, vehicles, ending with worn electronics such as smartwatches, glasses, bracelets, heart pacemakers, and many others also belongs to the sphere of cybersecurity. Protection of private interests and interests of entire states in cyberspace should become an integral part of the national policy of any country.